Welcome to Positivity with Poe. Hello, world, and welcome to Positivity with Poe. I am your host, Miss Poe B, and today we are back with episode 2, Killing the Double Consciousness. I just want to give a huge shout out to our first guest, Ellie Imani, on episode 1. Please go check that out if you haven't yet. It was so nice to hear about her journey as an artist and how she made a plan to make her life all the better. Okay, I definitely support her. She is coming out with her poetry book, Kickbacks and Midnight Snacks. I'm definitely looking forward to that. Please make sure when that comes out, you check her out as well. It was great to hear her journey, great to hear how she just went through finding her identity in a sense that she peeled back the layers and said, this is who I am, this is who I'm going to be, and how she channeled that in her art, and how that confidence that she has brought her to this point today to just step out of the box. Our last episode really did talk about just being a Black artist and not always being supported as a Black artist. You know, when you come from a place that is rough and tough, you don't have that space to necessarily be yourself. So this week's episode, we're talking about killing the double consciousness. Now, what is that? That is the transition into, well, I want to be my full self, but I'm not quite there yet. How do you get into that? What do you do? And so we're going to go into that. It's definitely going to be a good conversation to talk about how to get that going and get out of that negative lack mentality, how being in the double consciousness kind of keeps you stuck in a place where you can't quite emerge, but you're really dying to. So we're definitely going to get into that after this quick commercial break. It's definitely going to peel back even more layers, and then next week's episode we'll talk about making a plan with La Janelle Brown. So getting into all of these different elements that really helps you make a plan for the success in your life. All right, so we'll be right back. This is Positivity with Poe. We live, baby. Hey.
Are you looking for a safe, supportive environment that will encourage and empower your child to reach their full potential, especially during this pandemic? UNI DMV provides enriching out-of-school support services and activities that build academic and social skills for 7 to 18-year-olds residing in the District of Columbia, Maryland, and Virginia communities. UNI DMV has been mentoring the youth since August 2010. For information on upcoming events and programs, visit us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/UNIDMV.
All right, world, welcome back to Positivity with Poe. So we're going to jump into this episode, Killing the Double Consciousness. First of all, what really is the double consciousness? So what that really translates into is being one way but feeling another, having a battle of the mind where you're finally at this point where it's like, well, I know I need to do better with my life, but I'm still feeling like I'm falling short. I'm still running back. I still haven't learned the skills yet to put me into my new life. I have the awareness that I need a new life, but I don't necessarily have the skills to do that. And what does that mean? Well, it typically means that you are trying to find your way out of the same rhythm of doing things. You're trying to find your way out of your bad habits. And you don't necessarily know how to end those bad habits or break those bad habits. And I'll give you a perfect example. In my own personal life, what I struggled with is breaking the bad habits, but going back to those same habits because I had nothing new or essentially nothing good to replace those habits with. When you suffer with the double consciousness, though, it doesn't always just mean you doing the opposite of what you intended to do, okay, doesn't always mean just acting impulsively or acting the same way. It could be just an internal battle where you might just be sitting still. And I also went through that, where I'm just sitting still, but there is a way that I know I should be in my life right now. I should be doing this with my time. I should be doing that with my time. And ultimately, what that did was put a lot of pressure. I put a lot of pressure on myself, which then translated into self hate, which then translated into me trying to go back to my bad habits that alleviated stress. So, and this can be anything, guys, okay? It can be anything. I'm telling you, it doesn't necessarily have to do with dating or partying. It could just be stress eating, you know? It could just be not eating at all. It could be the things that you know might be harmful or aren't great for your development. They kind of stifle you from growing into who you're really called to be. And the double consciousness really happens because I feel that, and from what I've seen, is that we all are in survival mode. We all kind of come out, and we shouldn't live this way, but this is how life is designed for us when we first emerge. And we're all in survival mode. And survival mode tells us we got to keep going the way that we are. We have to keep this exterior. We have to stay in the same spot that we've been in. But what your new mind is telling you, after you've lived a certain way for quite a while, after you've seen enough things in the same environment, your new mind is telling you, like, hey, like, you know, these skills that you've gained in survival mode, you can be doing that somewhere else. You could take those same skills and apply them in a condition or in an area in your life where you don't have to get hurt anymore. You can make money off of these skills. You know, you have natural gifts inside of you that naturally comes out in survival mode. So I'll give you an example. Like, I have the gift to gab, you know, I have the gift to talk. You know, in survival mode, I use that to get what I wanted, you know, and that's not always the best thing to say or do. You know, I've used that against partners to be manipulative, to be, you know, to persuade people, you know, to do something. I'll give you a light example. I remember I was out with my brother, and I was able to talk the bartender into giving us 2 extra shots for free because it was his birthday. You know, stuff like that. Now, there are more extreme cases, okay, that I don't need to go into, okay? But you know what I'm saying? You also have these skills that you've gained in survival mode, that you've taught yourself, or that you know how to do naturally, right? When you are your more toxic version of yourself. And those skills can actually be turned around for good. Those skills can actually be turned around and used to your advantage in a way that doesn't get anyone hurt. You know, it teaches people that, wow, you have these natural gifts and skills. Like I said, unfortunately, we're in conditions though where we got to use those skills to get by instead of using those skills to really gain and capitalize off of what we know. I actually even watched this interview off a $1 Million Game with Gilly and Waldo, and they were interviewing Jadakiss. And Jadakiss was actually saying this, you know, because Gilly had asked him, you know, when you finally are famous, or you finally at that level of success, like, what do you tell, you know, the people that you ran with in the streets? What do you tell them? How did that transition work? And what he said was, is that, you know, I had to have that conversation with them. Like, look, I have a better way to make money. I have a legal way to make money, you know, and it's going to benefit the team. And that's why when you transition into better, you kind of realize you don't just do it for yourself. It works for everybody around you naturally. And I said this before, when you love yourself, when you have compassion for yourself, it starts with you. Remember, I talked about like that inner child. When you parent your inner child, when you parent those feelings, and you parent yourself to say, it's okay, I have a better way for me. It's okay. It's okay. Let's just start there. It's okay. You come out with a better game plan. You come out with a better mindset, because what the double consciousness does is that it'll say, well, you got this destination to reach. You got to go here. But then you're also hating yourself at the same time. You're also putting pressure on yourself at the same time to say, well, I got to reach this destination. Therefore, I got to stop what I'm doing cold turkey. And I can't do this and I can't do that. But that pressure to just all of a sudden be something you have never been in your entire life is now like, it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta be this, I gotta be this. And now you're just giving yourself anxiety. You're putting yourself in a high risk state of mind. Therefore, when you stumble, you stumble back into your bad habits in a way that was almost 10 times worse than where you started. This happened to Miss Poe B. Okay. This happened to me. And this is why I'm able to explain this so well. Because when I first came home, in my transition between coming home and where I am now, it was all right. Well, I'm not drinking. I'm not this. I'm not hanging out. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. And then, okay, then I had a bad day. And it just was a stumbling process for me after that, almost kind of worse than where I was, and that is because of the pressure I put on myself. My sugar biscuits, you have to think of it this way. When you're killing the double consciousness, you're getting your mind and your subconscious really to shift to one track. So you're not hearing a backup voice in front of behind the voice telling you what you need to be doing. So what I mean by that is, okay, I want to go back to school, right? Okay, I'm gonna go back to school. Okay, well, I gotta make sure I don't call these friends, and I gotta make sure I don't do this, and I gotta make sure I don't do that. So by the time you're even thinking about enrolling to school, you're like, I don't think that's for me because I don't have the time for it. You end up talking yourself out of it because of those backup voices that say, well, you gotta hurry up and da 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 da. My sugar biscuits, if you've learned toxic cycles for, let's say, from about childhood to where you are today, do you understand you will not break those things in a day? Do you truly understand you will not break those things in a month? I'm talking about embedded, taught systems that you grew up in. Your friends act like this, your family might act like that. People around you, everywhere you see is just this one look, this one image, this one mentality. You have to realize when you are killing that old you, when you're killing that survival mode you, and you're realizing I don't have to fight to live good anymore. I don't have to fight to bring out my natural talents and to capitalize off of them in a way that God has designed for me. I don't have to struggle in that way that I came up. You have to realize that is 20 plus years of breaking down. And this is why I think that when people are older, from what I've seen so far, life makes more sense, or life seems to kind of fall more into place along with their purposes, because they are now learning a new way of living that doesn't involve the toxicity, that won't allow any type of things like that to disturb their peace. But you know what I admire about that is that it took years. It didn't take a month. It didn't take a year. It took years to realize that things are going to fall in place. Okay. Things are going to fall in place because I struggled with the declaring that I'm not going to do something no more. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. And then what happened a week later? Oh well, I just got a little lonely. I just had to make a phone call. Or yeah, I, okay, because you have to realize there are steps. There is new knowledge that you have to receive, and there's a new feeling that you have to go through. It's a metamorphosis. Okay, it's not just a one-stop shop deal when you're talking about 20 years of a behavioral mindset that you've had to portray this way, to be this way, to act this way. So when you're killing that little voice in your head that says, I need to get this done right away, I need to move because I finally see a destination for myself, so I gotta get there. But you don't get there by just all of a sudden just saying, I'm a new person today. You can claim that over your life and you can definitely go there. You definitely can. But you also have to realize that if you decide to be the old person that you was, the next day, you have to realize it's a process. I have to work through my old self to get to my new self. And a lot of times that really does start with telling yourself, okay, what I'm not going to do is beat myself up. Because if I got to this point naturally to think better for myself, I'm also going to get to the point where I naturally will do better for myself. It's not my job to rush to the finish line. And what will happen is, if you are not aware of what's going on in your life spiritually, I'm going to tell you right now, what will happen is that you get the inclination to treat yourself better. You get the inclination to say, let's use a relationship. That's a good example. I'm going to leave this toxic person alone. I'm going to get out of this, right? You have the thought. You start talking about it. You start claiming it for yourself, because whenever you speak does come into fruition. But you know what happens? You get challenged. You get tested. All of a sudden now you want to leave, and now that person want to act right. Now he want to act right. Now she want to come home on time after being out with her girls all night. Like little things start to happen where it's designed to make you stay where you're at. And there's so many people who, when living in survival mode, they claim to want to get out of it. They claim to want the freedom, but then their ability to be free gets tested, and then they stumble back down. It happens to all of us. It happens to me, Miss Po B, my baby. I am not perfect in any way, shape, or form. And so in my dealings with killing the double consciousness, it's understanding that, yes, I have a destination I want to go to. Yes, I have a place that I know I need to be, but I also have to realize it's a journey, and I'm going to get there because I speak that over my life. It will come into fruition. But what's the double-mindedness is saying that, okay, I know I can make it, but then on the other hand, being like, well, I ain't going to make it if I don't do this, and I don't do that, and I don't do this. What I'm trying to tell you is, these things fall into place as long as you do something, as long as you have the thought right now, and as long as you start to make a plan. Your plan will get tested. That is the way this life is designed. Your plan will get tested. What I want you to do, though, is internally stop having the battle that, oh my God, well, I messed up, so I'm not going to make it. Oh no, this can't happen for me. Oh no, this is impossible for me. That's that double-mindedness I'm talking about. Stop saying on one hand, you have a destination to reach, and then on the other hand, oh no, I can't. Oh no, it's just, this ain't for me. All right. We're killing that. We're killing that ego that just says, no, stay where you're at. Stay at the places that you know of, that make you comfortable and validate your existence. It's coming out, guys. All right. We are ending this. We are ending this double-mindedness, because what it's really doing is making us hate ourselves. So we're going to end that rejection, ladies and gentlemen. Kill that double-mindedness. All right. We're going to be right back. We're going to get into some Po news. But during this break, think about your choices and think about how great you are. Okay.
What's up, y'all? This is your girl, Lene Monet, from the new podcast, Chicken Wings and Comedy Things. Our podcast is full of, well, chicken wings and comedy things. So if you like both, make sure you tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. on Wow Radio. Go to www.wowuradio.net/shows and click on our logo. Follow us on Instagram at Chicken Wings and Comedy Things for updates and special announcements. See you there. Peace.
All right, world, welcome back to Positivity with Poe. I am Miss Poe B. And right now we're about to get into one of my favorite segments, Poe News. All right, so this week we have Whiskey in the City. Whiskey Girl. Whiskey Girl is awesome, guys. You have to follow her. She is amazing. She's super talented. She's an author. She's a mental health advocate. She's a teacher, a leader, an amazing poet, spoken word artist. Make sure you check out her website, whiskeygirl.com, and also make sure you follow her on IG at Whiskey in the City. She has her open mic show that is coming up again July 30th, called Whiskey and Friends Drive-In. If you go on her website, she has a parking pass at a discounted rate, and I actually think it's free. Don't quote me on that, my sugar biscuits. But make sure you check it out, and make sure you check out Whiskey and Friends, the Drive-In. It is super awesome. She is one great butter biscuit. Shout out to you, Whiskey Girl. I see you doing your thing. I'm proud of you. She's so awesome. All right. And actually, you can actually follow her, like I said, on IG. And I see on her flyer here, WG at whiskeyandpoetry.com. Check that out if you want to actually perform in the Whiskey and Friends Drive-In. All right. We're going into Karma 7 on IG. Make sure you follow Karma 7. That is my cousin's clothing line, where she also makes clothes. She does clothing. So get your bathing suits from Karma 7. And that IG is karma7.co. on IG. Check that out. And then we're getting into the Poets Reading Poetry podcast. Poets Reading Poetry podcast. Say that fast 5 times. I bet you can. Just kidding. I know you can. And that's hosted by Dwayne B, aka Crochet Kingpin, aka That Poetry Host. Shout out to you, Sugar Biscuit. Woo! That's featuring Brandon Douglas this week. Make sure you check out Poets Reading Poetry, a podcast. Listen, guys, you definitely want to follow Crochet Kingpin as well. He hosts a lot of open mics all over DC. I met him as my time as a server at Busboys and Poets. So he was pretty awesome then. He's pretty awesome now. And the man crochets. Go buy his stuff. It's about to get cold, my sugar biscuits. But that's okay, because he will keep you warm. Okay. Yes, so that is your Poe News for this week. Thank you everybody again for that. Like I said, make sure you check out Whiskey Girl. Make sure you check out her show, and then make sure you go get you a bathing suit for the show, because it's so hot you can wear one, and then listen to a podcast by my homie Dwayne B, because you want to hear them good old bars. Okay. When we get back, guys, we are going to do our sign off and recap really quickly about killing the double consciousness. Hope you enjoyed this one. This is Positivity with Poe.
Indie for your mind, indie for your spirit. It's Wild Radio, so you know you're gonna hear it. Whether you like to spit it or you just wanna feel it. Forever indie, baby, and you know we got the spirit. Indie for your mind, indie for your spirit. Indie for your mind, indie for your spirit. Indie for your mind, indie for your spirit. Indie media for the indie spirit on Wild Radio.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Thank you for tuning in once again. This was your episode 2. All right, episode 2, killing the double-mindedness, killing double consciousness, whatever you want to call that. It is simply just saying that I have a destination to get to, and although I might stumble, I'm not going to feed myself any toxic, words. I'm not going to feed myself any negativity because I fall off track or because I don't do things as I necessarily plan to. When I actually started the prelude to season 2, I did that in how making a plan also means being very flexible within that plan making, and also think about this. When things come back around to show you things about yourself that maybe you haven't healed yet. Some of those things could be just how you talk to yourself in a moment of a crisis. Some of those things could be how you handle yourself in a moment of a crisis. It's not a bad thing. Life is designed to teach you about you so you can get to your purpose. And believe me, it falls into place. You don't have to fight for it. It's going to come natural to you. It's going to be effortless, okay? It's going to be a breeze, I'm telling you. But you got to stop hurting yourself. You got to stop feeding yourself negative thoughts. Believe in yourself. You got to have faith. You got to see it even though it's not in front of you yet. And that all comes with just really believing in who you are and not giving yourself any more negativity. One mind, ladies and gentlemen. Focus, all right? So next week, we are going to have the Lionel Brown. Woo! Who is Lionel Brown, you ask? Why, she's just my cousin, of course, but also not just my cousin. She is a kick producer who is doing her thing in LA, and she started right here with me in our hometown, Philadelphia, PA. So I'm super excited to have her on the show. You want to talk about making a plan, my sugar biscuit. And her story, I know, will definitely hint to you all when I tell you how things fall into place. You just got to see it. You just got to see it. And she is a perfect example of that. Put in some work. And if you stumble, it's okay. If you take your time, it's okay. It's a marathon. It's not a race. And that is the beauty of her story. And that's the beauty of being a positive sugar biscuit, my sugar biscuits. Can I get an amen? Amen. Hallelujah. All right, y'all. I know these producers are like, this girl is crazy. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Positivity with Poe. This was episode 2, Killing the Double Consciousness. I hope to see you not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday with Lionel Brown. All right, y'all, stick around, and thank you for tuning in to Wow You Radio. Bye. Welcome to Positivity with Poe.